All right, guys, we have got ourselves our Los Angeles Chargers preview here. We don't got to dig too deep into the intros anymore. We're going to jump right on into it. We'll start with the coaching staff. Jim Harbaugh, borderline top 10 coach. I have him, I think, at 11. Again, a good coach, gets his guys up all the time. They're always playing hard. There's always a really solid foundation that comes with every single Jim Harbaugh team. Doesn't do a lot of the more advanced, like, fourth downy stuff. I wish he was like a little bit more aggressive. I think they have the talent at the big positions to be a little bit more aggressive in situations like that, and I think that's what prevents me really from really going over the top there. And again, still a very good coach. Offensive coordinator Greg Roman. Don't love Greg Roman. Everything is really basic and base and stuff like that. Just like, a lot of old-fashioned, running the ball a lot, early down stuff. Not a ton of early down passing. The play calling's not super expansive. And again, it may be difficult for the personnel to go ahead and get some of that, but I feel like I think if the Chargers make the next step soon, it comes from a change at offensive coordinator. But again, for now, it's been working okay. And whether, again, it could continue to take a step forward. Guys are always learning. Guys have been in the league a long time. So we'll see. Defensive coordinator Jesse Minter, he was solid last year. Expect him to be, we'll see. Expect him to be kind of solid this year. Again, I think the defense has taken a little bit of a step back. Excuse the dogs if you can. And it's just, it's a solid room that I think could take, I think there are ways forward that are positive here. As for the roster, quarterback, Justin Herbert, divisive, I guess, depending on who you are. Not for me. Taylor Heineke is the backup. Taylor Heineke is a solid number 2. That's all you can really ask for at the backup position. But Justin Herbert is a good quarterback still to me. He's my number 7 ranked quarterback. I think he's very solid. His advanced stuff is good. He's like, his bad throw percentage is top 5 in a good way. His on target percentage is top 5 in the league. Even a lot of his yards don't come from yak in terms of just like, he's bottom 7 or 8 in terms of starting quarterbacks, in terms of yards after the catch. So a lot of his yards are his yards, and they don't get put in with extras. Like, he doesn't get a ton of, run after the catch stuff. His drop percentage is top 5 in a bad way type thing, in terms of just his supporting cast has not been very good here. So until Justin Herbert has a really good supporting cast on offense in terms of pass catchers, and he does poorly with it, Justin will always be in this 7, 8, 9 range. I have no doubt about that, because the talent is there. It's always been there. And there's not much more I can say about it. It's very, very good. He has that one throw he made versus Kansas City after he busted his ribs, where he couldn't even really walk the play before, and then came out and threw that like 30-yard dart. It's probably one of my favorite throws in the last 5-6 years. Genuinely an awesome throw. And again, the talent's all there. The arm talent, the vision, the ability to read defenses and everything is still there. It's always been there, and everything else is nice until the pass catching group is good and he's not doing anything with it. He'll always be there for me. Running back, interesting group. Najee Harris comes in. Najee's interesting. I've grown a little bit more on Najee, not because he's moved here or anything, but because like he's finally like figured out who he was, and a lot of his early stuff was him trying to like, maneuver extra yards here and there, try and find explosives, a lot of that juking stuff, and he's never getting by defenders. But once he figures out he can put his head down and gain his 3, 4, 5 yards a carry, he's just going to do it. He's going to go get it. And I have no problem with Najee Harris on this football team. Again, Najee reminds me, we were talking about Brian Robinson not so long ago in the Commanders preview. Not a ton of explosiveness, but he's going to get his 3, 4, 5 yards per carry. So very comfortable with Najee here. And then Omarion Hampton comes in, the first-round rookie. We'll see. He's got a lot of talent, comes from a very running back heavy system, so he's gotten a lot of touches and things like that. A lot of schemes for him. I think, again, we'll see what Greg Roman comes up with for him. I hope he's just not running a lot of in-between tackle stuff, but Omarion Hampton is talented, so we'll see what they can add to the running back room here. Wide receiver room is interesting. Ladd McConkey is really, really good. And I had the wide receiver room ranked 29th, and you know, you bring up McConkey, and McConkey's very good, but McConkey takes the majority of his stuff out of the slot, like 70% of his stuff out of the slot, and it's not that that's a bad thing or an easy position or anything like that, but it's in terms of taking the offense further, passes outside the numbers, passes to the X, are just more valuable to an offense. It stretches the field out a little bit more. It stretches the defense out a little bit more. And when your only good player, or when your only good pass catcher is in the middle of the field, it makes it really difficult to run the offense in an efficient way altogether, because you can play one-on-one on the outside with no problem, and you can load up an extra slot corner, you can load up an extra linebacker in the middle of the field, you can bring your safety down a little bit. So it makes the field a little bit tighter when you don't have a really good outside player, and when you have a good inside player, it doesn't really change how defenses are going to play, unless, again, this is their only good player, and you kind of just stretch inside and makes it tighter. So, again, I'm not saying Ladd McConkey's a bad player, but because he's their best and only real good wide receiver, and he comes in the slot, it just doesn't expand the offense like a good X or Z does. But they drafted Trey Harris. He's going to be the 2 or 3 or whatever he's going to play, the rookie. I'm excited for Trey. Trey was a prospect I liked. Again, I'm not a scout, so take everything I say about rookies with a grain of salt. But I think he's solid. I think he's going to get a lot of targets. His stuff in camp has been pretty good, from what we've seen, and obviously you don't want to take too much of that camp stuff into how you feel about a player. It doesn't really matter. But again, looks like he's playing pretty well, and should get touches here. Quentin Johnston still on the team. Again, he does everything super well except catch the football, which is probably why they haven't given up on him and anything like that. But you've seen a couple drops in camp, and whether that ever really moves in the right direction remains to be seen. But again, everything is there for Quentin except the catching, so I don't think anybody's going to necessarily give up on him. And I think he'll find his way around the NFL, even if he doesn't get re-signed here when his contract runs. I think he'll find places until we're like 6, 7, 8 years down the line, and he's still not fixed the catching thing. But the catching thing's really all he's missing, because he gets open and he runs pretty good routes and he's got speed, and it just never gets anywhere because he can't catch. Then you got Darius Davis. Jalen Reagor is on the wide receiver team here. I like everything after Ladd McConkey is bad or a rookie, so it's still not great in terms of pass catching. We'll see. Again, if Trey Harris comes in and has a good year and he's just really good from the jump, then you got two really good pass catchers, and probably a pass catcher out of the back with Omarion Hampton, and all of a sudden the team is so much more expansive, and defenses have to cover so much more of the field than if it's just Ladd McConkey catching football. So we'll see with Trey Harris. We'll see with Quentin Johnston. Again, I don't think anybody in the organization has looked at him and given up on him or anything like that, so we'll see. Tight end, Will Dissly, Tyler Conklin. These were okay names a while ago. Now it's kind of a lower end tight end room. Nothing great, nothing bad, just okay. And that's all it's going to be. Offensive line. This is an interesting group. It's probably going to float around that 9 to 14 range all season long, and that's where I expect it to be. That's where I have it now at 12. It's where I expect it to end. The tackles are really good. Rashawn Slater just got himself a new contract. They hit with Joe Alt. He's really good as well. Rashawn Slater is a top-end tackle. They're really, really good. The interior of the offensive line is a bit different. Mekhi Becton comes in, and he's been solid since he's moved to guard. Solid last year. Comes in to play right guard. Bradley Bozeman and Zion Johnson at left guard and center. Zion hasn't really hit the ground since he got drafted. Bozeman is not really that good. It's an interesting interior. There's a world where the interior is like really not very good. So again, this is what keeps me from putting them in the top 10, because the tackles, you can argue, are the top duo in the NFL. If you really want to make that argument, I can listen to it. But again, the interior, there are two genuine question marks on a 5-person line. They're both right next to each other, which is an issue. One's at center, one's at left guard. So until I see jumps or improvement there, I can't really put it into the top 10. But they were solid. Again, last year they were right in this range. Last year, 11th in pass block win rate, 13th in run block win rate. Again, they're going to be in this area, as I said. I'm going to say this a decent amount with the Chargers. We said it in our mini preview and things. This team's floor is good, and the ceiling is not super, super high. And that's kind of how I feel about the offensive line as well. The floor is still top half. The ceiling is like 8th or 9th or, 7, 8, 9 in that area. So, again, we have it at 12. It's going to be in that area for me, I feel, unless we get some jumps from those two guys. On to the defense. This is an interesting group. It was a good group last year. I didn't think it was top 5. I thought there were times when, like, every time they played a pretty good offense, the other offense did well. And when they played bad offenses, they really locked down. And there's a spot in the NFL or every sport for teams like that who are just too good for the bottom half, probably not good enough for the top 10. That's where I felt with the Chargers. They were probably 8th, 9th, 10th best defense last year. I'm not so sure they get back to that number this year. There are some misses here. Obviously, Joey Bosa's gone on the defensive line. Joey Bosa's not been super healthy or super, super productive. He's been solid, but it's not like, man, Joey Bosa's leaving. What does that mean from like 6 years ago? He's not like some super, super elite edge rusher they're rolling out the door anymore. Poona Ford's also gone. That's the big one for me on the defensive line in particular. Poona Ford was really, really good last year. Really solid in both aspects of the game. Pass rush, run stop. Pass rush and run stop. And again, this is a pass rush that's not filled with a bunch of really good pass rushers. And you miss one of your better ones there, and you miss a really good run stop guy in the middle here. So it is a big miss. They'll have a tough time replacing him. As for the edge, Khalil Mack, still very good. I keep expecting Khalil Mack to like come off at some stage. Doesn't really. Reminds me of Bobby Wagner. They just kind of keep on pushing. Dupree hasn't been very good, but rotational piece. Tui Pelotu is solid, nothing fantastic. Tart okay at D tackle. Like, I don't love it. I just don't. It's very difficult. You're gonna have Khalil Mack there as a solid pass rusher. Tui Pelotu solid again, and then the middle, Tart. I'm not sure how to say that guy's name. I see him a lot. Ogbene, I believe. We'll see. I'm not very good with pronunciations, but just the starting 4 is a step back. It just is. Again, losing Joey Bosa. Joey Bosa's still a decent-ish pass rusher. Again, he doesn't play a ton. Losing Poona Ford makes me think that the defensive line is just going to take a genuine step back, along with some of the age just catching up to maybe Khalil Mack, Dupree, all that stuff. So we'll see. I think the D-line has taken a step back, though. But the D-line was okay last year. Again, they were, 22nd in pass rush win rate, which is not very good. And again, a worry when Poona Ford goes out, when Joey Bosa leaves. Run stop was good. Top 10, 7th or 8th, I believe. And again, Poona Ford's gone, but run stop can still be pretty good here. The pass rush is a worry. Linebacker is Henley was solid last year, and you're hoping he continues to grow. Colson didn't play a ton last year, but was also horrible in the minutes he played, or in the snaps he played. So we'll see. Again, he was slated as the starter, and the other day, like, Troy Dye has replaced him since, and Troy Dye is there's a pretty straightforward thought process with the quarterback or the linebackers outside Henley. They're okay run stop. They're not good in pass coverage. That's the same with Dye, mostly the same with Perryman. Again, we'll see if Colson ends up being, they want Colson to be that guy, but if he's really that bad and continues to be that bad, then there's probably going to be Troy Dye. And again, the coverage, not great there. Run stop, pretty good and will be needed, especially considering some of the losses on the D-line. But again, this linebacker room is okay. There's room for growth, genuine growth with Henley. There's room for genuine growth with Colson. But until we see it, it is what it is. Secondary is interesting. Safety room is solid. Derwin James continues to be good. Gilman is solid as well. It's an interesting corner group. They bring in Dante Jackson. He hasn't been particularly great. St. Juste hasn't been particularly great, but, you know, bringing up more depth. Cam Hart is okay, a good blitzer. I've written down the other corner's name. It's his first name. Still was good. Sorry, I couldn't read the first the first name of Still, and I still can't. But Still was solid. So I expect the corner group last year was okay. It was very, very young and started really, really well and kind of fell off as the year went on. And that's kind of what you expect from a group that's filled with so many young players, a couple 5th-round picks in there and stuff like that. But again, you bring in, Dante Jackson hasn't been great. St. Juste hasn't been great, but you bring in some extra depth. You bring in some rotational pieces. You bring in some vets to come into a corner group that was young and good. There's a world where the base is good still. Like you're looking at first half secondary all year long because you're getting a couple rotational pieces in there, because the rookies aren't playing every single snap. And because they're deep rookies, like, again, deep in the draft, rookies aren't playing every single snap, and they're getting to learn from, guys who have been in the league a lot. So there's a base here with Still, Jackson, Hart, St. Juste, where, again, we like the safety room where they're picking up where they were, early on in last season, midway through last season. So again, I'm pretty high on the secondary. I think there's a jump to be made there, and we'll see, but kind of like it. Schedule. Let's jump into the schedule. It starts not so easy. You lose a home game in Brazil against Kansas City, which is not what you want. Obviously, you want your home games at home, and when you get a home game in division taken away from you, it's not. We can be honest about the Chargers, I guess, and LA Rams as well, where it's not really a home atmosphere. But regardless, you're going to a foreign country to play the best team in the division, the best team that's been, won 2 Super Bowls and went to a Super Bowl last year, and your quote unquote main rival in the division, and you're doing it away from home. Then you come back and travel to Las Vegas to play the Raiders, who will probably be better this year. Then you get Denver at home, who you played well against last year, but still a pretty good team. And then you go to the Giants. And now the Giants aren't like some world beaters or anything like that, but the Giants have a really good interior offensive line. This is your 3rd road game in the first 4 weeks of the season. It's not an easy game. It really isn't. And you got Washington at home, at Miami. We'll see with Miami. Washington are good. Indy at home. Minnesota good at home, at Tennessee. And then Pitt at home. And that's a stretch where, quarterback-wise, you're looking okay, perhaps. I mean, there's a world where you get quarterbacks in a row that are just all over the place. Like, you get Indy, who are probably going to get Richardson to start. Daniel Jones is the backup there. and Richardson hasn't been great and may not be great then still. Minnesota, rookie at quarterback, he may be struggling. We'll see. Tennessee, rookie at quarterback, may be struggling. I worry about the coaching situation there. Pittsburgh at home, you got Aaron Rodgers, who's 40-something behind a not-so-good offensive line. So there's a stretch there where it might seem not so easy on paper. Indy, Minnesota, Pitt are not easy, but they're all at home, and there's a world there where all of a sudden you're 3-4 more points favorite every week. At Jacksonville right before the bye, and then out of the bye is where it kind of gets tough. Las Vegas at home, Philadelphia at home, at Kansas City, at Dallas, Houston at home, at Denver. So if this team's going to make a playoff push, you got to win your games early. Simple as that. You get Denver at home, you get the Giants, you get Las Vegas in your first 4. At Miami's got to be on there for a game you're trying to win. Indy at home, Mini at home, at Tennessee, Pitt, at Jax. Like that 5-game stretch, 6-game stretch with Miami included in there, you're looking for wins. You got to have them. Again, the second half is really difficult. I'm not saying you can't win these games, obviously, but you got to win the ones you're in the area to win. So it's an interesting schedule. Heavy at the front, heavy at the back, calm in the middle. So we'll see. And yeah, it's an interesting team. Again, I wish I could bet on this team to win 8 to 11 games, because that's probably where they're going to be. They have a pretty good floor, a pretty low ceiling to me, because I think, again, the floor is good. We really like the quarterback. We like the coach. We like the 2 tackles. The defense is solid enough, but there's also downsides to everything. It's a really young secondary, despite how it played last year. The interior of the offensive line is, iffy. The pass catchers are iffy. The offensive coordinator is iffy to me. The defensive line is iffy. So I like the floor, don't love the ceiling. And it's tough to bet on teams like that because they're kind of just lined okay in the market. But we do have a bet here, or 2 bets, and they're for Mr. Trey Harris. We talked about him earlier. Trey Harris, 5+ touchdowns at +210. So $1.38 bet for us in our challenge. Trey Harris, 1,000+ receiving yards at +750. That is a 69-cent bet for us in our challenge. Again, I like Trey Harris. I've liked what I've seen. I like the fact that he could be the number 2 here. And again, I don't like the fact that the middle of the offensive line is not so good, but in terms of just throwing the football more, it's going to come because the interior of the line is not good and they're not doing as well on first and second down runs. We are going to play his regular yards total when that pops. It's probably going to be 650 or something, but these are kind of just the ones stretching around right now. Again, I like him to be heavily involved here. He reminds me a little bit of Roma Dunze last year in terms of he's going to come in and probably just get better as the year goes, be more involved as the year goes, except there's just not as much competition here. Again, Ladd is going to get his touches. Who else is going to be guaranteed pass catches on offense here? Nobody. And I like the rookie here to go ahead and do that. Again, 5 TDs is 1 every 3 games. Like the idea of that. 1,000+ receiving yards is obviously a lot. But as we said, it's more of a ladder portion. We're going to play the regular one that probably pumps around 650-ish. And we're talking, how many yards after that? Not too many per game. So we like the Trey Harris look. I don't hate the team, don't love the team. Interesting football team, Los Angeles Chargers.